Costco has never published a list of who makes its clothing. I checked. There isn't one. But every container of clothes that enters this country by sea files a bill of lading with customs and border protection, and those are public record under the Freedom of Information Act. About 70 million of them going back to 2015. So I pulled Costco's, then I pulled Carhartt's, then Brooks Brothers. 7 items in the Costco men's section are worth your money, and I'm going to show you the paperwork on every one. Customs manifests, a federal trademark filing from 1997, and a labeling database most people don't know exists. No estimated production costs, no trust me. If I can't source it, I don't say it. You need all 7 of these because each one is a different place to look. Miss one and you've only learned a trick instead of a method. And by number 1, you'll be able to run the check yourself, standing in the aisle on your phone in about 40 seconds. Number 7. Pima cotton tees. Buy the tees, and I can show you why on the label in one word, a word most people walk right past. Cotton is graded partly by staple length, how long each fibre is before it's spun. Longer fibre resists pilling, holds dye more evenly, and gets softer with washing instead of rougher. That's not marketing. It's why long staple cotton costs more per pound. So the only question that matters on a cotton tee is this: how do you know you're getting it, instead of just being told you are? Here's the tell. Pima is a type of cotton. Anyone can print the word. Nobody's accountable for it. Supplier is a registered trademark licensed by an American Growers Association, and a company has to be an approved, audited licensee to put it on a label. One is a description, the other is a promise someone can lose the right to make. So which one is on this 3-pack? It's right there in Costco's own product listing. And it says, Pima, just Pima, no licensing mark. So here's the straight version. The cotton is very likely good. Costco's sourcing usually is, but that word is a description, not a guarantee. You're getting a good tee. You're just not getting a promise, and knowing the difference is more than the $40 shirt tells you. Still a buy. Buy it knowing exactly what it is. The honest con: there's no logo on the chest. If that badge is the reason you buy a shirt, this isn't your shirt. And that's a real preference, not a wrong one. One more thing, labeling can change between production runs, so what's on the tag today is what you're buying, not what a review said 2 years ago. Number 7, because it's the easiest check. One word, no tools. They get harder from here. Number 6, Chinos. Buy the Chinos, with one asterisk I'll get to. And this is the one you can verify with your own hands in the aisle in 10 seconds. Here's exactly what to look for. Here's the thing about pants. You can't see fabric quality by looking, but you can see whether someone paid for the parts that fail first. And pants don't fail in the middle of a panel. They fail at stress points, pocket corners, the base of the fly, the back yoke. That's where load lands every time you sit or shove a hand in a pocket. There are 2 things a maker does about it, and both are visible the moment you turn the waistband out. The first is a bar tack, that dense little block of stitching at each stress point. It costs machine time, so it's one of the first things cut to hit a price. When you're there, count them. The second is a flat felled seam, both raw edges folded in and stitched down twice, so the seam itself carries the load instead of leaning on an overlock that can unravel. Look at the inseam. Smooth and doubled is flat felled. A fluffy, loose edge is not. So here's the honest read on the Kirkland pair. The bar tacks are there at the stress points. That part's real, but the inseam is a plain overlock, not a flat fell. Which doesn't make them bad pants. It makes them good pants at a good price, with one corner cut where the premium brands don't cut it. Buy them for exactly that. Cheap and better made than they have any right to be. Just not the hidden $400 pair in disguise. Better to know that now than to find out at the pocket corner in 8 months. The asterisk and the honest con. The fit range is narrow. If Costco doesn't stock your inseam, none of the construction matters because you're paying a tailor, and that erases the price advantage. Great pants in the wrong length are just expensive pants with an extra step. Number 6, because this one you confirm by eye in the aisle. Number 5, you read straight off the label, if the label is honest enough to tell you. Number 5, Merino sweater. If it's in stock, Buy the Merino sweater, and the label tells you whether you're getting the good version, but only if you know that most brands leave the deciding number off on purpose. Merino isn't one thing, it's a range. Wool is measured in microns, fiber diameter. Finer sits soft against bare skin. Coarser is what people mean when they say wool itches. The gap between a sweater you wear on skin and one you need a shirt under is a handful of microns, and that number has a name, the micron grade. Here's the tell. Micron grade is a spec, and specs can be printed. A brand that's proud of its wool prints the number. A brand that isn't prints 100% merino wool. Technically true tells you nothing and lets you fill in the blank hopefully. So does the Kirkland label give you that number? No, it just says 100% merino. No grade. So here's what that means. Honestly, it's real merino. It's almost certainly fine for the price, but Costco left off the one spec that separates soft from scratchy. Same as most brands do. And a missing number isn't a good number, it's just a missing one. Buy it. Just buy it in person, where you can feel it against your wrist because the label won't decide this one for you. The honest con? 2 of them. It's seasonal, so if it fits, there's no reorder. It's gone when it's gone, and sizing can wander between production runs, so try before you commit. That's 3 items where the receipt is on the garment itself. From here, the receipts move off the tag and into the shipping records. And this is where it gets good. Number 4. Down outerwear. Buy the down jacket, and this one comes with a receipt you can pull yourself. Most people just don't know it's there. First, the number brands lie to you with. 2 numbers get confused in down jackets constantly, and the confusion is profitable. Fill power is loft, how much space an ounce of down fills. Higher means more warmth per gram. Fill weight is how much down is actually in the jacket. A 700 fill jacket with barely any down in it is colder than a properly stuffed 600. Fill power is the flattering number, so it's the one that goes on the hang tag. Fill weight is the one that decides whether you're actually warm, and it's the one that usually isn't printed anywhere. Now the part most people mistake for an ethics sticker. Check the hang tag for the Responsible Down Standard logo. If it's there, it isn't just an ethics badge, it's a thread you can pull. The certifying bodies keep searchable public records of who holds a valid certificate, which means that logo connects a warehouse jacket to a real, named, audited supply chain. Most of the $400 brands don't hand you that thread at all. So the verdict is simple. On price and on loft, it's a buy. And if it carries that logo, you've got a paper trail the premium shelf usually keeps to itself. The honest con? Fill power is a flaw, not a promise about fill weight. And a warm jacket with a thin shell is a jacket that dies to one fence post snag. Number 3 is where the tags stop mattering, and the shipping manifests take over. Number 3, flannel-lined work pants. This is the one I spent the most time on, and it's the reason this video exists. Costco doesn't tell you who makes its clothes, but it can't hide the boats. Every sea shipment into the United States generates a bill of lading, listing the shipper, the consignee, the port, the weight, and the commodity code. Customs releases them. Researchers use them. Bellingcat lists the tooling in its open-source investigation handbook. So here's what's actually in Costco's apparel records. Weatherproof Garment Company out of 90 Spence Street, Bay Shore, New York. Men's pants and jackets with Costco purchase order and SKU numbers printed right into the shipping marks. Industrias del Interior in Aguascalientes, Mexico. Top listed products: men, pants, clothes. Over 3,000 shipment records. Living Style out of Singapore. Zhongshan Silk in Guangdong. Anhui Garments in Hefei. Real companies, real addresses, named in federal records. Then I pulled Carhartt, Pan-Pacific Nesia in West Java, Indonesia, shipping to Carhartt in Hanson, Kentucky, Everglory Vietnam in Hai Duong, into Carhartt's distribution center, and CMT de la Laguna in Durango, Mexico. Carhartt's buying entity shows over 200 suppliers. Now, Here's where I have to be straight with you, because this is exactly the point where a video like this normally lies to you. I did not find a shared factory. The lists I could reach don't overlap. Anyone who tells you Costco's flannel-lined pants come off the same line as Carhartt's is telling you something they cannot show you. What I can show you is that both sides of that comparison sit in the same public dataset. Queryable by anyone. For free. The question is answerable. It just hasn't been answered, and I'd rather hand you an open question than a confident guess. This is the kind of thing that takes a week and gets you a "we don't know" instead of a headline. If that's the trade you want from a gear channel, subscribe. That's the whole editorial policy in one sentence. The honest con on the pants, they're seasonal, so there's no reorder if they fit. Number 2, Weatherproof Vintage. Number 2 isn't a Kirkland item, and that's the point. Weatherproof Vintage sits in the Costco men's section as a brand. Its own label, its own price tier, positioned as a step up from the house brand. Here's what the shipping records say. Weatherproof Garment Company ships out of 90 Spence Street, Bayshore, New York. And the same manifests list the parent entity at the same address. David Pizer Sportswear Incorporated. Not a press release, not a company bio, a customs filing. So, Weatherproof isn't some heritage manufacturer that Costco convinced to sell wholesale. It's a label held by a New York apparel firm, applied to goods made overseas, and then sold to you at a step-up price because it has a brand name on it, which raises the obvious question about the brands people trade up to. Hold that thought for about 90 seconds. Number 1. Merino dress socks. Number 1 is socks, and there's a reason it's socks. Kirkland Signature holds a federal trademark in International Class 25, clothing, footwear, headgear, filed in November of 1997, registered the following September, first use in commerce that spring, and the goods listed under it? Hosiery, not shirts, not jackets, not jeans. When Costco went to the federal government to protect its clothing trademark, the garment it named, the thing it was actually selling under that label in the spring of 1997, was socks. 30 years of Kirkland apparel later, and the category it started in is still the one where the gap between what you pay and what you get is widest. The honest con? Check the tag for a construction warranty before you assume one. Some sock brands guarantee against holes for years. If this one doesn't, that's a real difference, and some people should pay for one. So, number 2 raised a question. What are you actually buying when you trade up? The two brands people benchmark Costco clothing against more than any others are Brothers and Eddie Bauer. Eddie Bauer's ownership chain on the record? Bankruptcy. Then Golden Gate Capital in 2009, then an operating company called PSEB in 2018, then acquired by Authentic Brands Group and Spark Group, announced May 2021, closed that June. Authentic took the intellectual property, Spark ran operations, and Brooks Brothers, already inside Spark. Then, in January 2025, Spark merged with JCPenney to form Catalyst Brands, roughly $9 billion in revenue, about 1,800 stores with Brooks Brothers, Eddie Bauer, Aeropostale, Lucky Brand and Nautica, all inside it. They are the same company. And here's the part that should reframe this entire category for you. Authentic Brands Group does not manufacture clothing. It owns trademarks, and it licenses them. Its portfolio also holds Hickey Freeman, Hart Schaffner Marks, and Greg Norman, some of which Costco has carried on its own floor. So when you walk past the Kirkland rack to buy the $400 label, you are not moving from a private label to a manufacturer. You're moving from one label applied to contract manufactured goods to another label applied to contract manufactured goods, and paying a licensing premium for the second one. Which brings me to the 40-second check I promised you. Every textile sold in the United States has to carry either a company name or a registered identification number, an RN, issued by the Federal Trade Commission. It's on the care tag, and the database is public, free, and searchable. Over 100,000 entries. Now, be precise about what it tells you. The RN identifies the US company responsible for importing, distributing, or selling the garment, not the factory. The FTC is explicit about that, and anyone who tells you an RN reveals a manufacturer is overselling it. But it does tell you whether two labels at wildly different prices trace back to the same company. And that is the question worth asking. Pull the tag, type the number, 40 seconds, and here's what I want from you. Go look at the care tag on the most expensive thing in your closet. Run the RN and put what it says in the comments. I want to know how many of you find a company you've never heard of behind a logo you paid a premium for, because there's a version of this that's worse. Costco doesn't just sell Kirkland, it sells licensed heritage names on its own floor at warehouse prices. And the ownership map behind those is stranger than anything in this video. One of them is a suit brand your grandfather would recognize, owned by the same group that owns Brooks Brothers. That one's next.